Smiling because it looks that way, and someone up there just, I guess, liked me. Absolutely not. The Shepherd Fairy, the way that it happened with Shepherd is that the choreographer, the very talented young choreographer Justin Pegg, I commissioned him to do Heatscape, to do a work, and he showed up and he finished rehearsals and he said, "I don't have anything to do. What do you recommend that I do in Miami? You know, before my next rehearsal, I have a couple of hours to kill." And I said, "Why don't you go to the Miami, Wynwood? Want to take a walk around there and understand." I told him a little bit about the history and Goldman and what it really, a dilapidated community and how it had, come up. And he, the next day, came into my office and he was blown away. I mean, this is a New York kid, so blown away by the street art and the whole story. And so he said, can we do an ad campaign in Wynwood with the dancers and the backdrop? And it would be so great. And I said, forget the ad campaign. Why don't you call one of those artists and see if they'll create either the backdrop, sets for you, or costumes for you. Collaborate with them. And so he reached out. He had a list. He sent me the list. He reached out. He said, "This is my favorite. Shepherd is my favorite." I said, "Let's get a hold of Shepherd." And so that's how it started. It was and that's what I like. That's how I like to do things, when it kind of feels organic and for the right reason and not a gimmick. And then with with Michelle and Terrell for Midsummer's, the same exact thing happened. I got permission from the Balanchine Trust to reimagine this masterpiece. They said, "Which artist?" I said, "I have no idea." And I spent 2.5 years going to artists in London, in California, in Paris. I spoke to opera directors, I spoke to theater directors, film directors. Everybody, either they loved it or they didn't love it, or they loved it but they were busy, or I didn't feel they were right. And I was pretty much about to give up on the project when a friend of mine from Washington called me up. And she said, Tanya, and she said, "How's it going?" And I said, "Oh, I'm giving it up. I can't find anybody." She said, "Have you seen Michelle Cardona's work?" And I said, "No, I don't know who she is." So I Googled her, went to see a couple of her things, did more research on her, and I reached out to her completely. I mean, it was luck that she was a Miami-born artist, and immediately understood what to do with this reimagining. And it's really Michelle that said, "No, I want something that speaks to Miami." And I went, "Let's go." Because to me, that was the organic way of doing it, and not saying, "Oh, I want to pick a Miami artist because I think it's going to be cool and people are going to get it." No, they're going to get good art.